Hello loves, welcome back to TigeraGitana. Today we are going to cover the new moon in Cancer that's happening tomorrow. Okay, I'm just gonna make it a habit to cover all the full moons and new moons, eclipses, and all of that that's happening astrologically on the channel. That way you guys are just not only astrologically getting information and growing through astrology, but also working with the energy, because it's also a big part of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and, well, actually I want to start it off on a note. Okay, so if y'all remember, okay, the past couple of videos before, we started Cancer season on a solar eclipse in Cancer. Okay, and we're ending it in the new moon in Cancer. So we started in a new moon solar eclipse and we're ending it on a new moon in Cancer. And I feel like this, especially Cancer season, has been such a full circle moment, and I feel like you guys are gonna have that like download and the kind of, I feel like it's gonna, it feels like there's so much that has changed from that solar eclipse in Cancer until now. However, there is some stuff going on in the chart for this new moon, and let me just pull up my notes. There's some stuff going on. We're still kind of having to address our ego and having to address all of the aspects that, if you have not been working on that, then it's really kind of in your face now, especially on an emotional level. So we're literally just gonna jump in. As of right now, there are 6 retrogrades happening. Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter, Capricorn, Saturn is back in Capricorn right now, in retrograde. So he moved out of Aquarius and went back into Capricorn because of the retrograde. Neptune is in Neptune is in retrograde in Pisces. Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn. The North Node, which is in Gemini, is also in retrograde. Chiron, which is in Aries, is also in retrograde. So it's definitely, it's been a lot of past energy, and the specific chart for this new moon highlights a lot of that as well, especially as we reflect from the beginning of Cancer season to the end of Cancer season. Like, what work did you do? That's really going to be the question for this new moon. Did you have that full circle completion, or are you still kind of pushing some work around that you actually need to do? Like, are you actually doing it, or are you pushing it to the side? And that is the main question here. So right off the bat, the sun is conjuncting the moon, obviously, and that's really gonna have like your ego supporting your emotions in that sense. However, the sun is also opposing a couple of interesting planets on this. The sun is opposing Jupiter, sun is opposing Saturn, sun is opposing Pluto, and those are really important oppositions that are happening, because you have to look at your ego when it comes to this moon, especially as it relates to your emotions and how you're emotionally triggered with different things that have come up through the kind of beginning of Cancer season to now this completion, to this new fresher energy, now that we're leaving Cancer energy, and it's like this kind of shabam here. This is the last new moon in Cancer, and then we move into Leo season. So you have to kind of sit with your emotions and sort those things out. So you have to be mindful for this eclipse. One, is your sun, your ego, blocking your is it blocking your karma? Is it blocking your healing? Are you using your time correctly because of your because of your ego? Are you just doing things that, you know, make you happy, but are you doing the work that you need to do as well? Are you blocking your self-transformation? Are you removing are you allowing yourself to remove any dead weight that you've been carrying, especially on an emotional level? Are you blocking your the things that really are kind of It's almost like if there were instances throughout this whole cycle of things that just kept coming to you and you were just like, oh, I'm just gonna put that away, or I'm just gonna ignore it, or I'm just going to like, let me just take a step back, let me just not even focus on it, let me just, you know, pull back a little bit. Are you actively looking at the moments that are presented to you for you to analyze, for you to address, or are you just ignoring them? All of these kind of oppositions create friction in different ways, because if the sun is opposing Jupiter, you're going to have a lot of friction not only with your studies, especially on a spiritual level, your spiritual studies, but you're also having friction with your abundance and how you attract wealth. And is it your ego that is blocking you from being your best self? Is it your karma that is blocking you from being your best self with the sun opposing Saturn? Is it your dead weight that you're still carrying, that you have not made space for these new things with the sun opposing Pluto here? You have to answer these questions. These are the questions that you're really going to have to focus on for this specific moon cycle, 100%. And I feel like that's really what's going to, especially because the sun is still in Cancer, we're having all of these emotional energies, and Jupiter are the opposing planets. Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn are both in Capricorn. It's almost like water trying to make sense with the earth. And it's just like the earth is like, hey, I need you to water me so I can grow, and the water's like, I don't want to think about that right now. But then at the same time, it's like you want all of these things, but you refuse to water your own growth, your own elevation. It just doesn't make sense. It's just a lot of, it just doesn't make sense. It's just friction. It's conflicting and it's frustrating. And I feel like if you haven't been doing the work, you're going to have a lot of this kind of tugging of energy where you're just like needing to release a lot of things, but then you're not. And if you've done the work, you're gonna kind of see how you can look back at, again, the previous moon cycles that we've been going through Cancer season, and how they have changed our perception, changed our emotions, changed how we react to things, changed how we mentally process a lot of these things, especially with Mercury still being in Cancer, how we're mentally and emotionally like communicating and processing it and saying, okay, let's bring it back to my own self-nourishment, my own self-love, my own growth. How am I nourishing myself? And if I'm having all of these opposing energies and I'm getting checked by the universe, like, how are you reacting? What is your reaction to the questions that I asked? And that's something that you're going to have to address during this specific new moon in Cancer. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is the Sunshine Neptune. This is actually very, very beautiful, especially because Neptune is in Pisces. But the thing about Neptune energy with the sun is that it kind of gives you a very higher sense of, it does amplify spirituality in many, many ways, but at the same time it does give you this sense of like almost like blowing things up in a way to make yourself think that something is what is not, especially when it comes to your ego, but in a good way. This is a trine, so it is in a good way, but at the same time, with all the oppositions, you do have to make sure that you're also seeing the light and seeing the right, you know, not what you want other people to think or not what you wish you can think, but more of what actually is, like what's actually going on with you, and are you seeing it for what it is? And if you are seeing it for what it is, are you letting that truth of you be beautiful? Are you letting it be open and free and flowing, just like the ocean, just like Neptune with this trine? Like, are you letting your ego express itself? And that's really what comes out of this trine. Like, I feel like creatively, again, my water signs should be going to work, okay? I know Cancer's, you know, having not that great of a month, but especially as far as, you know, the chakra healing video that I did. I know they're kind of going through it a little bit, but at the same time, it is necessary to still kind of reflect and go through the motions of doing all these things, because a lot of the time we put ourselves in a lot of different situations that we could have, we didn't need to be in. We had no business, like we just didn't need to be in those spaces, and we ended up being there anyway. So definitely make sure that you are flowing with your energy. I would highly recommend, and I've been saying this every day for Cancer season, and you guys every week for Cancer season. You guys know I said it. Please make sure you're taking a weekly spiritual bath, especially tomorrow on Monday, the day of the moon. You want to make sure that you are really just cleanse energetically and spiritually, especially with that Sunshine Neptune. You're going to want to do more water related rituals. I highly recommend doing I just feel like it helps you calibrate your energy and your spirit. Definitely some energetic healing as well would be really good for that as well. So try to have as much emotional and spiritual harmony as possible for this specific new moon. Now, the other one that I wanted to talk about, and then I'm going to wrap it up. Wait, hold on. Sorry, looking at my notes. So actually, no, there's two of them that I wanted to talk about. So Moon is also trining Neptune, which also just amplifies it, what I just said previously. But the Moon is also opposing Saturn, opposing Jupiter, opposing Pluto. So it's kind of like even with the I'm just gonna pull some cards. Even with the all these sun energy and our ego, our emotions are kind of, because they're in a conjunction, they're going to be backing it, but at the same time you're going to be like your ego, your solar plexus, and your emotions are going to be like, I don't want to really see this for what it is. I don't want to think that that's what's blocking me. I don't want to think that I'm blocking myself in this way. I don't want to kind of be the cause or the fault. And I would definitely suggest looking at where this new moon is falling for you. So make sure you check your transits. But it is something that is, you're emotionally getting triggered, and your ego is getting highly triggered. And at this, you really have to take it in and analyze that, because Mercury is also squaring Mars, and so you have your mind squaring your like passion, your drive, your willpower, like that fire. You have your mind squaring that, and it's kind of like you already have all these oppositions. It's almost like you don't want to change, but you know you need to, and that friction creates a lot of just, it doesn't create a fun energy. And I feel like some people might have a little bit of a and I hate to use the word struggle, I really hate that word, but they might have some hard times moving through the energy if they can't get past the truth of the situation, if they can't just allow for something to be, this is what it is. Like, hey, you allowed this into your space. Hey, you created this energy around you. Hey, you haven't released this, and so this is why you haven't been able to bring something in. And so that truth needs to be addressed, especially with Mars being in Aries and wanting to do stuff and wanting to move forward. Like, I would be so frustrated if I'm the one that's causing myself all of these type of things. And that's exactly what's happening. That is exactly what's happening, okay? The last one we're going to be talking about is Venus square Neptune, okay? And so this kind of really creates a very interesting dynamic, especially when it comes to relationships, because when Venus is squaring Neptune, it makes it so we are kind of getting really annoyed or seeing things like we're not finding pleasure in our connections, in our partnerships. It's just like there's a little bit of friction, there's a little bit of I mean, granted, you can also like make this a little bit more sexual and then, you know, have some fun with that if you want to let out some steam. But at the same time, Venus squaring Neptune, it kind of, if you were been kind of in this like haze of, oh my god, we're good and all this stuff, you kind of just will start picking up some subtleties that will be kind of a little bit annoying, especially with relationships. So just be mindful of that. And also, you can also tailor your ritual. Sorry. Oh, hold on. We're gonna get there. You can also tailor your rituals to be be you can also tailor your rituals to be mindful of that. Like, you can make your ritual, like if you wanted to do a relationship ritual for your relationship, just ask for you to be accepting, for you to be understanding of your partner, for you to be balanced with your partner, for you to both be able to come together and have balance together, not just like you're kind of, you know, doing the Virgo thing and just analyzing to the side and throwing shade mentally. So be mindful of that energy, because it can create some friction, especially in relationships, and how we connect with family as well. Anything where we find our pleasure in, so make sure you check where your Venus is. But this definitely is something that you want to be aware of, because if you're already going through everything that I just told you as far as all of the oppositions that is happening, you're going to be annoyed with everything else. Like, it's just going to be icing on the cake. You're just going to be like, oh, okay. So just really quickly, we're going to go over the cards that came out. So the first two cards I pulled from the Mary Queen of Angels Oracle cards for this. And the first two that came out is Boundaries, of course, and it says, I am clear and honest with others about my expectations, and caring. Heaven cares for me, and I keep my heart open and care about myself and others and the world. And that's honestly like 100%, because you actually have to care about your issues in order for you to do anything about them. The next two are Gratitude and Miracle. So you have, as I notice and appreciate my blessings, I open doors to more of God's gifts. So there is something to be said, especially with this opposition with Jupiter, because Jupiter he's the king of all the gods, okay? When we're talking about, you know, you have to understand the emphasis of what Jupiter energy plays. And so when you have this like opposition where you're just like, hey, it's your ego, it's your emotions, it's the way that you don't want to address things that is blocking your blessings, you have to take a step back and be like, you know what? I received that message. I am grateful that I am in this position, that I get to address my own emotions and hold that mirror up to myself, so that I can then manifest properly and call that in with gratitude. I am grateful that I went to this situation. I am grateful that this person put me through hell and I had to go through hell to leave this person. I am grateful that, you know, like all of the things that are happening to you in your life, have that gratitude, because that's gonna bring in that lightness in. The next one is Miracle. I trust in God to know the perfect solution to this situation. And it's honestly 100% about intuition, because Cancer is very intuitive. All of the water signs are very intuitive. So you do have to follow your own vibe. And at the end of the day, it's all about intuitively knowing how to nurture your way out of it, especially with this new moon. And making it so you're not struggling, you're not frustrated, you're just healing yourself, but also allowing yourself to emotionally feel and be good. Not like, oh, I'm frustrated. No, just let yourself heal, let yourself feel, and do as much as you can to assist with your healing, especially spiritually. So do a spiritual bath 1000%. I promise you will feel 10 times better, especially tomorrow. But work with this moon wisely. There's a lot of things that can be manifested during this specific moon, and you can do a lot of emotional healing and family healing as well. So yeah, that's what I have for you guys for this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Please do not forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you stay notified anytime I upload. And I will see you guys in the next one. Do not forget to check out the Patreon as well, because we're always learning and growing over there. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.